by phone or anything? Oh, sorry, all right. I'll call the April 8th, 2025 Osage County Commission meeting to order. Say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. Okay, with roll call, we have Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Cooter, and Clerk Michelle Morris. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
No, ma'am.
I did.
Possibly be the removal of the appraiser's stuff.
Okay.
I don't know, I haven't gotten back from Josh.
Okay. And he's not here today. He said he's available by phone, but he wasn't able to come today. He had, I don't remember what his
Yeah,
conflict was.
I hear anything.
Yeah, okay. So do you want me to remove that? Was he gonna send it by email or something?
Another message, so hopefully he'll send
Okay.
something.
Okay, anything else? Okay. So I would need a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there anyone here for public comment? No. All right, we do not have public hearing. Do we have any correspondence to us? No? Okay. First unfinished business item is Century Business Technologies update. Good morning.
Good morning. At the last meeting, I think we kind of talked about some sort of strategy around replacing specific computers. I went through and did more work, kind of get those things written down. I'll send electronic copies too, so there's also a copy of it as well. So I broke out, I'll preface with a couple of things. All your computers, for the most part, are all Dell machines. With Dell machines, we can extend the service contracts. The issue is, I guess, the service contracts on these in particular. We want your computing to be covered with service contracts. A lot of managed service providers will require that the computers that they service be under service contracts with the manufacturer. That's not uncommon anymore. The reason being is it protects you if a computer crashes so that you can make sure that it gets up and running quickly. The service contracts, the SLAs, are usually like on-site next business day to get the product repaired so that it can be redeployed to the person that's using it so that they're most efficient, most productive, all those reasons, and it keeps you more secure. And so that's kind of the reasoning behind these refresh cycles, and I've kind of highlighted again the ones that are outside of their service windows. Dell computers in particular, we can extend the service contracts on so that it gets you out of the red basically for a little while, but it's kind of a stopgap measure. They're already at least 3 years old if they're past their end of service dates. So it's not an ideal computing experience regardless. Computers, 3 to 5 year shelf life typically, right, before they're kind of obsolete. And so this kind of reflects all those different things. And so on the top section, we have our recommendation for what you should refresh in Q2. And I have all the departments listed and everything.
And by refresh, you mean getting a contract?
Replacing.
Replacing.
Yeah, we're replacing the computers and getting new computing. And then I kind of separated out by department. The idea here is trying to replace computers by department all at once so that they're all consistent across departments. And looking through this, I kind of made the assumption that a lot of departments, specifically maybe like the clerk's office, the register of deeds office, and the treasurer's office, were a lot of those computers replaced with like COVID money. Is that true?
I don't know.
No.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I do know that,
The cycles kind of reflect that. Like it seems like it's a lot of computing that was being, and I know in public health they replaced a lot with COVID money.
that could be true. I mean, the only way to know that is if you look back. I know with the treasurer, clerk, and deed, they have a tech fund, and so sometimes things will get paid out of that when it comes to anything technology related. So maybe, some of it could have came out of that, but I don't remember.
So the reason I brought up extending service contracts is because the clerks, the register of deeds, and the treasurer's office, all of them go into service
Yeah.
contracts. So there's a ton of them next year that are gonna be coming up for potential refresh. And so maybe extending our office, and I'll have conversations with them too separately and kind of figure out how would you budget for these things? And would each office budget for them separately? Or non-elected offices to become out of some sort of general fund? How do you guys do that, I guess?
I'm brand new to it, so I'm looking forward to my first budget session here,
Well,
so.
it would probably just have to be budgeted in their commodities line item.
Okay. And so do these things make sense to do next year? Does it make sense to do this year? What kind of makes most sense for the budget then if it's already?
Well, we haven't started any,
Okay.
I mean, we haven't had any meetings with our, we call it the auditor, because he's our auditor and our budget person. So I call him the auditor, but we haven't had any meetings with him yet.
Okay.
So I guess when we start those, that's what we're gonna have to ask to see how we,
And here initially, I mean, the departments that we would recommend that you focus on are ones that sort of have been kind of neglected in the past. And so some of these computers are super old. Like, for instance.
The noxious weed.
Line number 6 on the top, like this maintenance computer, or I'm sorry, number 7.
Yeah.
yeah, he was here the other day and he said, yeah, I found out I really need a different computer.
Yeah.
He's been lucky apparently.
Well, that one's, yeah, I mean, it's close to 20 years old, and so it's almost legal drink beer, so. Anyway.
Send it straight to the museum.
But yeah, so this is our recommendation initially, and so what's proven next practices for me, and public health in particular is one here that is where we're recommending to kind of refresh all the computing there so that it's new and, because it's all older. Do I need to go department by department? Obviously, I need to kind of configure use cases by each computer, figure out how we're using them, and then come up with best solutions and things like that. And in terms of budgeting, do they need to propose these things to you, or should I come propose these things to you? What works best?
Well, I think if you bring the proposal, but then they're gonna need that information to work with
Sure.
the person who's assisting them with putting their budget together.
Okay.
Yeah, the other thing is there any, are there any departments that just have too many devices that where
That's
things
what
can
we're
be,
gonna kind of audit too. So-
can be,
So like land development's on here. And so she has 2 computers currently that are gonna go down to 1.
okay,
Neither of these computers are really meeting her needs right now. And so you'll go from, it'll eliminate a seat from your monthly bill, because we're gonna get rid of one of those 2 computers in land development, and she'll just have a laptop. And so but we'll make those assessments.
well, and I think I remember you said something about, there really isn't a reason for anyone to have a desktop and a laptop, they could have a docking station and a laptop, so then that will, does that become one unit when you do that?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll be able to let us know if there's departments that could occur in?
Yeah, yeah.
Which, okay,
Yep.
can cut down on.
And there's a couple of those where, like in the appraiser's office maybe, there's a couple people who like logging in on different computers, so I'm assuming that's the case there too, where laptops are in play. But yeah, anytime that someone has a desktop and a laptop, I mean, ideally they just have a laptop, ideally.
And like public health, they've got 5 or 6 items.
Right,
Is that
so
one?
they're all, and this is where it makes, I think for budgeting and for refresh cycles, it makes a lot of sense to have the whole department on refreshing at the same time, as opposed to like the appraiser's office in particular, half of them are end of service at 22, and then half of them are 26, 27. That makes it more difficult to budget, especially for just 7 computers. Just do them all at once and figure out how to get them all in the same cycle. And again, that's where things like extending service contracts on machines might be helpful, depending upon the cost. But Dell in particular, we have to quote them all one by one, which becomes kind of a nightmare to extend service contracts. It's not like other manufacturers like HP, it's more self-service, it's much easier. For Dell in particular, we have to quote each individual computer and extend the service contract, so. it should be-
So when you say every 3 to 5 years, I mean, is it
Ideally, so.
Is it plausible to try to push it to 4 years or to 5 years to just try
With
to?
HP equipment, yeah, we can buy 5-year service contracts right off of that, and so that's all 5 years. And then for budgeting it, I think I mentioned last time, we can give you proposals so you can buy it outright and own it immediately. We can do lease contracts, and you can pay it over time, whatever makes most sense.
So in general, what's a
General-
ballpark figure for a computer?
So our quotes for all the computers will include the cost of the computer, any additional warranty and stuff that's included with it, any additional equipment like a docking station that needs to be installed, also all the hardware plus all the labor costs involved in transitioning it. Our goal is to take the old computer, move everything that was on that old computer onto the new computer so that when we plug it in, it looks the same to the person that's using it the next day. That's our goal. And so all that labor is included. Typically, we would say around $2,000 per machine, typically, something like that. And again, a lot of these computers have lower specifications than what our minimum typically is. Typically, we're always selling computers with at least 16 gigabytes of memory and at least 512 gigabyte hard drives.
Okay.
Yeah, I assume what you're going to work toward is having by department kind of the budgetary numbers and say, hey, clerk's office, this is X number for what you need to look at either this year, the next year, or real soon, that kind of deal.
And you can kind of make that, so
Right.
that kind of roundabout number, you can kind of already do that with every department. So the clerk's office in particular, they're all expiring in the second quarter of 2026, right?
Right.
So 7 times 2,000.
Gotcha.
You got your roundabout figure for
Okay.
the 2026 session. Same with the registered deeds, same with the treasurer.
It's going to be
easy
pretty
come up with those.
expensive.
Sorry?
It's going to be fairly expensive, so may have to spread it out. I guess we have to determine which departments.
And that's what we were trying to get to, like, since you have, I think it's almost exactly 50 computers right now, not including the core hardware, the servers and stuff like that. I think there's 50 computers, laptops, desktops. We were trying to get to where we could do 10 this year, 10 next year, 10 the year after that.
Rotated around, yeah.
But the way the end of service contracts are coming up,
Yep.
it makes more sense to do it maybe in a 3-year cycle as opposed to a 5-year cycle. But then you'd have 2 off years. Does that make sense? So you're not going to do 16, 16, 16 off 2
And then
years.
break it, yeah.
Because you're not really, you're looking 5, 10 years in terms of budgets and everything like that, right? Not just
Right.
year over year necessarily. It depends.
Well, we should be. In the 4 years I've been here,
Okay.
I would like to do that, but that's,
Well, that's where we're trying to get.
normally you
this
do
kind
like
of stuff.
capital,
Yeah.
you have like capital improvement plans or
Sure,
that
sure.
sort of thing. And yeah, that would be wonderful, but
3-year, 5-year, 10-year.
that's not anything that's ever been.
Well, we can at least get you, if we can get on the same page on how you want to do these things, we can definitely get to that point with all of this equipment then. I think fairly easily. I think we've done a lot of work on our end to get you, I don't know if you've ever seen stuff like this before about, because it's a lot of money, right? It's a big expense for the county's IT equipment. Just the equipment in general is very expensive, and it's all assets for the county, so seeing the bigger picture, I don't know if you've ever analyzed it quite like this or not.
No, we've never looked at it in a overall encompassing view before.
Just run to failure, probably.
I think just the way it was always done before was just on an as-needed basis, and what departments needed, they just dealt with at the time and replaced as needed. And there wasn't an overall game plan, I guess.
Okay.
Won't this,
That I know, at least for the time I was here. I've only been here 4 years, so there might have been something.
won't this actually, in a sense, save money though, because we're able to kind of get rid of some other things and consolidate it?
You can get rid of it, you can consolidate, yeah, for sure. And I think it does a couple, and along those lines, if, like in land development, you're getting rid of one computer, so it's not an expense later on. It's just a one-time expense this year, and then you can do 2 desktops, and a laptop and a desktop moving forward, making it easier for them. And again, it reduces our monthly costs because it's, instead of 2 devices, it's just 1 device. So in the long does save some money for sure to analyze it like this.
And a lot of it also has to do with your, I want to call it points of entry, your security concerns, the idea of,
Surface.
yeah,
Yeah, the number of devices connected to your network, definitely use that.
yeah.
So this is all the departments. I was thinking about this the other day because the register deeds and treasurers came on.
Yep.
We don't, road and bridge is doing their own thing. County attorney and sheriff are doing their own thing.
Yep.
And other than that, everybody else is here.
I think so. And then the other conversations that I think maybe we could, that we're starting to analyze on our end is like in your core hardware, one of your 2 servers here in this building was end of service. We have full image backups of that server, so if anything were to happen to it, we can retrieve it. But if that server crashed today, it's 2 months before we could get a new one installed, to get the parts ordered and everything. And so that's sort of the risk of not keeping them up to service.
Okay.
But we were starting to have conversations around what the best options were for those 2 machines, what makes the most sense.
One of these days, you're going to come in here and there'll be green on here, right? And you'll be like, look what we've done. And
Sure. Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. That's the goal. That's the goal, is to make
Yeah.
it all green.
yeah,
Did you have any other questions or anything? Or I think my next steps would be then to reach out kind of individually to everyone on here and work with them and see what kind of makes most sense to them. And
Yeah, I think in the
actual
departments that
proposals.
anything can be consolidated,
Yep.
if we could look at that. And then it's gonna have to be a recommendation of just priority top to bottom, and then when budget time comes,
Yeah.
we'll just determine
who's got what?
Okay.
which ones get included for this year or next,
Okay.
how to roll that out.
So that, yeah, like I said, this is kind of our set priority. We think that doing these first makes the most sense, and then the subsequent departments, you can see, we'll do what we can in terms of trying to split out some of the ones that, since 2026 is a huge year for end of service, maybe we can extend some of the service contracts, and we'll move on from there. Sounds good?
We do have a capital improvement fund, and so that's where a lot of this is probably gonna come out of.
Okay.
I guess my questions would be more like the day-to-day, the troubleshooting. How's that going? Is everything,
So I talked with Heather about some of the issues that had kind of persisted from last week to this week.
Yeah.
I just followed up with our service manager to make sure that those get addressed here timely. I didn't see any other red flags except for those 2 things that have kind of carried over.
Okay.
And there are configuration issues with CIC. So
Okay.
we're getting that kind of figured out.
Is there anything we didn't ask that we should have asked? When you're speaking a language you don't speak, it's hard to
Yeah.
always know
Yeah.
what I should be asking.
I'll do a better job next week of trying to get this stuff to you, because I know that y'all do kind of review some of this during the week, so I'll try to do a better job of getting it to you so you can come up with questions as opposed to just throwing it to y'all on the spot. That would be better for me to do, so I'll work towards that so that you can at least review it for a couple of days and ask more pointed questions if anything pops
Okay.
up during the week.
So timeline-wise, how long do you think you would need to do what?
I'll try to have some proposals and stuff together this week so that folks can schedule time next week if they want to come in and talk to you about replacement.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that'll be a budget.
Yeah.
Like I said, it'll be a budget item.
Yeah.
As we move into that in the next.
And it'll be
couple months.
interesting. Like I said, I've not been involved with it before, so see what happens.
Okay.
See how it works.
Sounds good.
Thank you
Yep.
very much.
Copy this too. I'll send an electronic copy too. Does that work? Do you want me to stick around? Is there anything you want to discuss or anything?
If you can talk, that'd be great.
Okay. Yeah, I'll stick around. I'll stick around.
Okay, next one is Lake Region appointing alternate. I think we had discussed it, but I don't know if there were any names of anybody who had been proposed.
Nobody has suggested any names, so it's going to work out unless you guys have an idea.
Did we decide if it needed to be, if it can be a member of the public? Or,
They just want to be Osage County. Osage County can have up to 5
and they've got one seat open that they're wanting. Yeah, I don't know. Are we,
Is there a deadline we have to have somebody in there by, or is it kind of open till filled?
Yeah, we can tell Bill, I told her that we were trying to get names, but hadn't come up with anybody yet,
I don't know what our options are to advertise for it, or what the information is, what the commitment would be, you know, like how many meetings they have and that sort of thing. So if someone was interested, do they have something they can send out that gives a little bit of a description of that?
I can see if next week she wants to come present, she said that she would.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if someone wants to come, that's fine. If they want to send something that gives a description of what the role would entail and a time commitment and things like that, then I guess we're just gonna.
Have our sheriff drive around and drop off flyers.
We'd have to advertise. Okay, all right, on to new business. We have Jake Sand with the Junction Township, a resignation and a recommendation.
All right, so you guys all,
We don't have anything.
so as you can see on the back side, there's Ray's resignation letter. Then the front side there is the minutes from our meeting. And
Oh, okay.
the big paragraph down towards the bottom is where Evan and I called around and we couldn't find anybody, but Mark McCain Jr. Said he would take over Ray's position on the board until somebody else wanted to take it or until we get to election. So Evan and I both agreed to accept Evan, or not, Mark, sorry,
Is the clerk position up next year, or is it?
2 years.
2 years, okay.
This last election cycle was trustees and treasurers, the next election cycle is clerks. So, as you see, we both agreed to
Yeah.
it, so
You know, I don't
you
have,
guys are fine with it?
I don't have a lot of concern with it. I mean, if it's,
And he
everybody's
lives in the township.
Yes.
Okay.
He's
There were
a
the
white-
issue from a couple years ago. We had someone who moved out or something.
He was born in, he's never left Junction Township. He was born there, and he's kind of like me, you know, he's only moved, actually, he's moved less than I have, so.
Well, I would move to accept the resignation of Raymond Campson as a Junction Township clerk and to approve Mark McCain to fill the unexpired term.
I'd second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye?
Aye.
No.
All right.
Michelle?
I'll get
There you
Mark
go.
down here to your office as soon as he gets back.
Okay. I'll say, yeah.
Yeah, then they,
I'll get you a copy of that.
Take an oath or swear in or what have you.
I'll get yours.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
okay, did we receive anything from Josh in regards to the interim documents?
He was getting it to me, but I haven't done it yet.
Okay. Okay. We'll move down to payroll. So with the reports, I'm doing my best to kind of read them and understand them. But I did see where you had mentioned that the employer side just hasn't, they've not gotten that figured out. So when we approve things today, it's mainly the employee side. And then at some point, they're gonna finish this out, and then we'll get a separate report that will end up coinciding, okay. And then, I just had a couple of questions. On the thing where it says pay exceeds standard salary, and it says 54. What is that? 54, so it has, number of employees paid is 138, number of pays 138, number of pays that exceed standard salary is 54. Let's see, it's this statistical summary. Do we know what that is?
So with the sheriff's department not being able to do their clocking into their salary that way, this would be their salaries put in as one number, but their hours were added to that since they don't clock. So that would be like their overtime or their straight pay time, and that's why it exceeds their normal
Are they still being put in as salaried employees, or have they been put in as hourly?
salary.
Okay. Is that something we're gonna be working on?
Yes.
Let's see. Okay, so on the employee side, the withholdings are okay on that part, is that what you said? And the employer side is the issue. Okay.
Was that the only issue that came up so far, Michelle? Was the,
Yeah, for the most part, everything else, just kind of tweaking things, but.
no big red flags, and
Yeah.
all stopped, that everything come crashing down? Oh, that's good.
Yeah, what was their issues with the employer withholdings?
Not 100% sure, but it's been a lot of time on it with time frame. But I think it was when they pulled that data over the last time, because of doing that short week payroll, you had to shut off of that stuff.
Yeah.
They've already paid for like benefits and stuff, and they just missed that.
Huh.
being
So
pulled over.
is the 5-day turnaround enough time? When it closes on the 30th or 31st and then turn around, is 5 days enough? I mean, is it enough time for you to do what you need to do without being stressed? Like if they're not getting their part done and they need stuff from you, is it enough days?
I really don't have much to do
Okay,
if the department head does their job.
okay.
I have had some people ask about how that's supposed to work, or they're unclear of how to approve times, or,
Well, there's a big blue approve button, but you don't see it until pay period is closed.
okay.
And that's what I kept telling them, like, I can't really tell you because it's not there yet. So,
Huh.
And how's the clocking in and out going with the new, because we're not doing time clock plus, we're doing the ADP's time clock.
I
Service.
have one office that has issues, everybody else is golden.
Okay, and how'd the thing go with Road and Bridge? Because I know initially they said they didn't know if they could clock in and out yet, but we're working on getting them access. So did they use the new system?
So still some tweaks.
Because
Yeah,
they originally said they didn't know about
yeah.
internet access. But I know there was the mobile version. Do we know, are they using that mobile version?
Some of them are. Everybody else seems selected, so.
And then, did ADP have an idea of when they'll get the employer side finished to get to?
Give me a timeframe, I'm pushing this week.
Yeah, it'd be nice to be able to do it
Yeah.
by next meeting or at next meeting. So, okay.
Because otherwise it holds up daily balancing until I have it, so.
Okay. Okay, for right now, I know I'm gonna have more questions as we go along, but this is our first
Yeah.
time through this, and there's always some hiccups to work through, so. So the total payroll expense was that 535,200, that's the number, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I would move to approve payroll for the April 5th payroll of $535,200.86.
Well, second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. There's that. Okay. Okay. Next one is bills, so I'm still working through that one. Did you get your bill sheet?
Yeah.
And then after we do this today, will you send me out that APLT 40? When that, because that helps me, because then I kind of go back and look at that, and if I have extra questions, then I'll ask about those, but. I know you sent me out that grid that has all these numbers on them to look for departments, but that's just really hard to go through every line item and then try to look up that number for every line.
I know Ryan keeps struggling with the fuel pumps up there. Do we have any plans to replace those or anything in the near future, or do you know?
It's some sort of replacement of something, but I don't remember what it was. I really
Yeah, I spoke with him just a little bit about it, and it seemed like whenever the temperature would change fast, it would vacuum up.
They talked about putting like an eye over it to help do some.
Yeah, I'm sure it's some safety valve that's failing, because safety first, you know. Well, the days of $60 batteries are long gone, aren't they?
I think that one was the battery cable or something. It wasn't an actual battery.
Heather, did you see anything else?
No, I'll
Okay.
look at this afterwards.
Sorry.
That's okay, I was just
I
giving you,
thought, I was like, were you waiting on me?
no, just however much time you needed.
Oh,
So,
I'm done. I'm ready to go. So the part that says grand total, that's the grand total there?
yeah, I was gonna pull up what she had here.
Okay, make sure they match.
So I would move to approve the bills in the amount of $98,249.14.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. There's that. Fred, I'm gonna let you come forward and you can conduct the PBC meeting. Do we have a bill? Do we have a?
You get past me?
When we do this, do we recess? So I would move to recess the Osage County Commission meeting. You want to call the board of the PBC? This is all I need to do.
Yeah, I move, we call the PCB meeting to order to pay a bill. Let's see what it is.
Is this one of the last ones?
It's getting close. Yeah, it's getting close to $1 million left.
Do they still have the retainage or whatever?
But there's still $600,000 or
So some of the punch lists have been done?
so. Almost everything.
Okay, because I think the retainage was over 2 million originally. I mean,
It was, it's down.
so they've been,
Yeah, it's everything inside, I think. There's very few money left inside the building. Most of it's now, we're just trying to get a parking lot, which I don't know if you've seen the over stones,
oh, I haven't.
It's so weird. It's so much different looking out, you can actually see.
Refreshing.
Yeah, it still stinks. Even on the ground, it still smells like a bowl. Someone mentioned that the other day when they walked up, like, it stinks.
Is the-
Like,
It's just our patch of
Is the
mushrooms out
parking
back.
lot- Is the parking lot gonna be gravel?
no, yeah.
Okay, well then you'll have a nice, fresh asphalt snow, which actually is not a bad snow.
Have you looked at this?
I have, no. You what?
It's not as bad as what's there, so.
It will be better.
Get some lab applications.
Hopefully by the end of the week, all that stuff will be,
Get all your light switches working?
yes, they're actually all working now.
That's a big thing on new construction. It really is.
It's amazing how much that's all electronic. It's amazing, like, they plug in a computer and do this and it works.
Somebody was asking me when your big grand opening was going to be, and I said, well, I think he wants a parking lot first.
Yes, for sure. I think we're planning on June 3rd
Okay.
at 10 a.m. That's our plan because it's during a commission meeting, so hopefully we can have the commission meeting, just go up there for a short amount of time. That's the day we're planning on anyway, or anything else. And weather and all that.
Oh, and like all plans, it'll work out just fine.
Yeah,
June 3rd. Yeah, absolutely.
might be plan C, but it'll,
Yeah, yeah.
we'll just,
Anything new and interesting?
same old stuff.
No.
Got a track meeting, I'd say this afternoon, and driving a bunch of kids to Emporia tomorrow, and a track meet Friday. And back here, had one last Friday here.
That's a full schedule. I got one for you. Here's something I learned. Did you know you know how the moon affects the tides, right?
Right.
I never thought about it until just this week, but it also affects groundwater levels. Same thing, but different, but yeah.
Okay.
If it's directly above, you know, it pulls the water.
Right.
And if it's on the directly opposite, it
Right.
pulls the land, but then the water also comes up on, you know, it.
Did you have anything?
I was surprised that groundwater would move.
Oh, did those come in?
It does, yeah, I never thought
Did you
about
have
it.
anything?
No, I was waiting for others to show that had to have been, I thought, but they
Okay.
didn't show up.
Okay. Ready?
Okay. To make sure, just this amount or?
Well, you've got these two, this invoice for that amount and that invoice for that.
Right, okay. So I want to make sure.
Oops, wrong. That's table.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, that's not
You
yours.
got that.
That's not yours.
Shuffle there. Okay. Well, I will move that we pay, that we forward to the county commissioners invoice number 25-0325 in the amount of $1,918,346.95, and invoice 2025-44-51207 in the amount of $5,537.22, so that the county commissioners can pay the bills. Do I have a second?
So moved.
Been moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
All right. I would resume the Osage County Commission meeting for Tuesday, April 8th, 2025. Thank you.
Yep.
Here, I'll let you read those big numbers.
Oh,
Make the
man.
motion.
All right, here we go. All right, I move that we pay invoice number 25-0325 in the amount of $1,918,346.95, and invoice number 2025-44-51207 in the amount of $5,537.22.
What is the name of the fund we paid that out of? Add that to your motion
The
from
who?
the LEC fund.
From the LEC fund.
So moved. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Did we sign anything on this? Oh. President is not me. And do you want me just to sign?
Oh, yeah. Put a big signature on there.
Is it just the front? There's that.
Nobody will question you if you put a big bold signature on there.
I just- Okay. The last thing is the appraiser interim documents.
So PBD requires board commission to notify them whenever appraiser leaves and to, Josh will spell it wrong. To bring somebody in for the time being. He struggles with names.
Did he spell Michelle's name wrong?
Melissa. They start with an N.
Close? Yeah.
I pretty much answered it, whatever.
Okay, so let's see. I'll give you this one to read first and I'll read this and then we'll switch.
Okay.
Okay, so this is for 6 months. Okay, so then we do it every 6 months? Until-
Honestly, I don't have all those answers, but
Yeah.
we'll kind of learn it as we go.
So help us remember that. This says 6 months. It says,
So, the way I read it, it looked like it could exceed the 6 months though. So, that would be.
Oh, it says
the
not
first
to.
issue. Yeah.
it says provides that in the event of a vacancy, the Board of County Commissioners may appoint an interim appraiser with the approval of the Director of Property Valuation for a period not to exceed 6 months. So we have to do this every 6 months at a minimum. Is that right?
You know what, well,
We'll ask
Michelle
John.
and I went over that
It's very
yesterday.
bright.
It's, as far as I'm concerned, I think that Matt Booker left knowing that we needed to do certain things, and I asked him multiple times. So I'm kind of upset that this couldn't be in play, and we were already planning on
Make a
these
smooth
things.
transition.
I've been covering hearings, getting my butt chewed on stuff he's done that isn't correct. He called me up on Wednesday, told me that he was instructed by his boss, Mike, whatever, I don't know his last name, from PBD, that they were going to assign Ray or let Matt come back and finish up these hearings. I would like to state my point on that. I don't know that I want him back here. I feel like he left us in a bind, and he has worked for 2 counties now, and the time frame was just not okay when he left. He should have maybe stayed until June and did these hearings and the final, all of the things that I'm gonna have to do that now we find out that I can't do because I don't have classes. You know, he said 101, now it's more, and I just feel like I'm at a loss. And then to get answers is hard, and I think we'll just have to start, I mean, I guess you start with the state and you can contract with them, and they're less than getting, another appraiser to come in. I wasn't opposed to it at first, but now I'm a little distraught about it, and I know that I don't have the final say.
Sure.
But I would like to say that when he left that Friday, he just kind of was throwing stuff at me. The girls are my witness in the office because everyone's like, what is going on? He left at noon. Prior to that, he wasn't here. He was at home working supposedly or whatever, and so we're here left with a mess to clean up. And I know that that happens when employees leave all the time. I understand that. I just feel like an RMA and an appraiser's responsibility should be a so. And you have deadlines, you have dates that those should be looked at. And he left with knowing that there's something that's due April 15th that I can't do. I mean, how soon are they gonna come down to get that done? Because
Yeah.
that, to me, I was always taught that those were responsibilities and you get dinged and you get all these things and they're really high importance. So for him to leave as he did, I feel that that was almost disrespectful to me and to you guys, to sit up there and say that he did his best diligence, whatever, full diligence to get those things done when that's not the case.
so I missed a little bit what you said at the beginning because I was reading. There's items that you can do that you didn't think you could, or there's some items you can't do that you thought you were going to be able to do. I missed what you just
I
said.
was told that I could do them.
Okay.
However, I kind of disagree because there's been times in the office that I've asked a question and Matt told me I was able to do that. So me going in and coming and having a meeting with you guys thinking that I was on the right page, I feel like it just makes me look kind of dumb, to be frank. I don't appreciate that. I think that that's crappy for him to do to me, especially when I had his back from day one when he started here. And I have cleaned up a lot of messes for him. And I'm mad about it, but I also want to keep my job at the end of the day. But there's still stuff in there that needs cleaned up, whether whoever's going to clean it up is going to have to come and do that. I understand that, and I'm willing to put that effort. I just feel like the things that he did to me are just absurd. And he called and said that this Mike guy, and then Michelle talked to him, and he was kind of not so nice about things.
He was rather pushy.
And I feel like
that I didn't have a whole plan.
it wasn't directed, and you guys can vouch for that. I don't think that Matt came in here saying X, Y, Z needs to be done before I leave in 2 weeks.
Yeah. I think what we'll probably need is whatever you've learned that's different than what we initially thought. Like, I guess we're going to need timelines, what you can do and what you can't do, and then whoever we need to be in contact with to determine if the state comes in and does certain things, so that we can try to get a plan, I guess, fairly quickly to get all those things taken care of.
And and Kyle Osborne came in this morning to congratulate me. Her and I got to talking, and she doesn't, I kind of thought I could get some direction from her. She said that I could ask questions and things like
And
that.
who's that?
She used to be the deputy appraiser here, 8 years ago when I started. So it's been a while. So she said that she still doesn't have her RMA, but she thought about trying to continue it or whatever. She did give me some direction to who to contact, so I will have that now, but we didn't have that prior to. So I think she said to get a hold of Bob Kent or Ray, which I knew Ray, to give us some answers, but I also have reached out to the state with I haven't got any emails back on anything, so I just kind of feel like we're at a loss. in the
Yeah.
office. We're short-handed now, we've got 2 girls in classes. I was trying to get that stuff situated, so it's Trinity and I this week, so just the timing's really bad. And now I found out that I can hear these hearings and I can suggest, but then Matt Wood eventually does on that, said that they were gonna send him down because he was familiar with the county. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's ultimately up to you guys. If he comes down, I just feel that, I mean, I can work with him, I can be civil, it's not that, I don't
So
like
we
to
may
be-
need to have, I guess, we may need to have a call with whatever the correct department is at the state, and then determine what decisions we need to be making to fill those gaps, and what time frame that looks like, if that's a few months, if it's until you get these
Yeah,
other
if
classes.
we can keep renewing in 6 months, that's fine, and I have to show progress, like, I totally get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not here to say, oh, no, I'm just gonna halt it, like, I'll still do what I need to do, I don't know that it's fair to take on a bunch of responsibility either, and then, these other people get to go make $75,000, and I'm the one taking the ream of it, I don't know, I'm not doing that.
Well, and I guess the 6-month thing, I mean, they've got the statute listed, so that just must be,
I just don't know if I'm reading it correctly or what, but it did say exceed, it cannot exceed, so I
Right.
felt like.
we'll just have to do this when it comes up to 6 months, we're gonna have
That's
to.
kind of,
Because you-
I would hope that's how it is, but.
I mean, you gave us a timeline on your classes, and it will go, I mean, I thought you said it was a year or so before you'd have all that, so.
And Kyle and I were talking about it too, like, I have the hours, and that's usually what it
Yeah.
takes, because it does take about 4 years usually. But I think with all the things, the criteria that I have, and I don't even know if that's updated, I feel like there's been some changes to qualify to have your RMA or whatever you call that. I think some of that has changed, but I do have, like, the hours and stuff, to me, I think it's only the classes that I need to take, and then that's gonna be, just gonna have to hammer
Yeah.
down and do it. And that's gonna be my responsibility, I'll take that.
I think we have some other things in place right now too, kind of keep making our plans between Tricia and Michelle and I, what needs done, what our time
Yeah.
frames is, because obviously we all know that if one office doesn't work,
Yeah, it's
then
not
the
really
offices work.
And it does start in the appraisal office, I mean, that's, your values and everything are there, so.
We do have CIC coming in to set the values and stuff, so they're both gonna be able to sit in on all that training, and it's been the same one that's come down, so we have that relationship on kind of where we're at. Honestly, in the past, every time we've had an issue in the appraiser's office, Michelle's been the one to
Yeah.
fix it because Matt wasn't present, so she's doing a lot more than I think she knows she's doing.
Okay. So it looks like one is the notification of the appraiser change, and one of these is appointing the interim. And then it looks like this must go to the Director of Property Evaluations. This must go to them, and then they approve it, so, okay. So I'm gonna do these separate. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So I would move to approve Resolution 2025-09, a resolution appointing interim county appraiser. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners finds that Michelle Rook should be appointed as interim county appraiser for Osage County, Kansas. Resolved this 8th day of April 2025.
You moved?
I said I need a motion.
Oh, okay.
So you can say so moved.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay. Let's see.
Sorry.
And then I would move to approve a notification of county appraiser change addressed to the Director of Property Valuation for the resignation, or for the previous appraiser's name of Matt Booker, who had resigned. You want me to say that again?
Yeah.
I'll start. I would move to approve the notification of county appraiser change addressed to the Director of Property Valuation for the resignation of Matthew Booker.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Okay. There's those. Okay, do you have anything else?
I don't have anything super official other than just lingering concerns about late payments or, bills. There's concerns about where the breakdown is in the communication of getting bills paid, I guess, Michelle, and I don't know. I've talked to you a little bit about it before in the past, but I kind of dropped the ball and didn't follow up on any of it. Is there something that I need to relay to the people, or is it?
I think it's a matter of getting our policy changed,
Okay.
because it doesn't line up with our paydays now, our bill pays. One of our biggest groups is the Sheriff's Department, and they've had a full plate.
Oh, yeah.
So, and Aubrey and I have been sit down now, and that's getting better, so.
Okay.
Just lots of cleanup, lots of research, trying to see. We had a big issue with one that we couldn't figure out why, like, we showed that they're paid. Well, what they were doing was putting that on the old one, so when we thought they were paid, they
Yeah.
weren't, because they were applying it to some other invoice, so that kind of,
Oh, they were paying it to late,
yeah.
they were paying it to late
But we
invoices.
weren't seeing those, so we didn't know,
Okay.
so.
All right. Yeah, like I said, I'm not here every day. I just,
yeah.
people
So
say
I think
things.
that's gotten better, it's just getting that streamlined, and
Get everybody on the same page.
getting that, the banks finished reconciled.
Yeah. Okay.
Improvement, just not at the speed that I would like it to
You're moving at the speed of government is what you're,
be. Yeah, it's terribly slow.
And then, do we have any update on meeting minutes?
I will be sending those out, and you're just gonna have to critique them and send them back on corrections that were in.
Okay.
That way you guys have time, you're not sitting here going,
Okay, and do you have anything else?
I don't think so.
All right, anyone else?
You have 5 minutes, questions?
oh, yeah.
Maybe 4.5.
Oh, sure.
If you don't,
What would,
schedule for next week.
yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's 10 o'clock, so we're super early. Is it, what's the,
Non-elected personnel?
yeah, what's the, no, okay. 5 minutes, you really want 5, or do you want more?
There you go.
I'm gonna try to make it 5, but.
Just you and us, or?
Okay, well, I would move to go into executive session with Sheriff Wells, Commissioner Cooter, and Commissioner Smith under the exemption of non-elected personnel.
Second?
Sorry, I gotta wait. For a matter of 10 minutes,
Yeah.
returning at 10:10.
All right, I second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I know, I looked though. I 100% looked, okay.
100% looked.
I 100% looked, because it's gonna be it's gonna be,
Yeah,
it is, it's gonna be my purse, or it's gonna be my heater, or whatever, so, okay.
No action taken, right?
No action taken in executive session. And if there is nothing else, then I would move to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.